What's up guys, welcome to another Bitcoin technical analysis video where we will be analyzing where Bitcoin is currently trading and looking to see what price could do in the short term. In this video, I will also be covering the reasons behind why I believe that this correction is not over yet. If you enjoyed this video, remember to smash that like button as it really helps out this up and coming YouTube channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on our channel notifications so that you are notified every time we upload a video. Now let's get right into it. Now the first thing to note is the fact that we did get that retest of the top of this trend line that we laid out last week that we were looking for, and so this played directly into our suspicions and validated the technical analysis that we performed last week. And so anybody who got in at this $29,000 level that we had laid out, well done, and definitely hold on for the next few weeks, as this is one of the optimal areas to have gotten into Bitcoin at this point in time. Now this correction represented a fall in price of around 31%. So this is a typical correction pattern for Bitcoin. A 30% drop from the all-time highs is definitely not anything alarming and is actually considered quite a small correction given how volatile this cryptocurrency is. Now with all of that being said, I do anticipate that this correction is not over yet. And I'm going to be giving you guys the reasons exactly why I believe that we still have some time left to get involved if you are not involved already. And I do believe that this is the time definitely to be patient and to use the next couple of weeks to load up on this Bitcoin before we eventually have another explosive move to the upside. Now, one of the primary reasons why I believe that this correction is not over yet is the fact that if I pull up the RSI, we can still clearly see that price is very overbought and we have just started to curve down on this indicator. Another reason is the fact that the 21 exponential moving average, which we spoke about last week, is still trading down here just a shy above $21,000. And as a result of these two things, I do believe that we need to allow Bitcoin time to fully correct back into a normal region for the RSI and also down to this 21 period moving average. Now last week I also mentioned the fact that I don't believe that $21,000 is a likely target given how far we've rallied, because if we do pull down to this level, this will represent a correction of around 50%, which is not stereotypical of Bitcoin when it's in bull markets. When we look at previous price action, we do see that we do get clear retests of that 21 period moving average. However, we can see price does trade sideways for quite a while before eventually coming down to touch it before moving higher. So in order to draw this in a way that people would definitely understand, I am going to be looking at a scenario where the 21 period moving average will be moving upwards with price and curling over like this, thus giving price an opportunity to eventually come down and retest it at a higher level. So with that being said, this is the primary basis under which I believe that Bitcoin will have somewhat of a sideways consolidation followed by a sharp move downwards, which I'm going to describe in detail as we go along, and what to expect and what indications to look for when this potential move will happen and how it could possibly play out. So in order to put this into perspective, we're going to be looking at some historical context during the last Bitcoin bull cycle, just so we can see how the 21 exponential moving average and the RSI tend to complement one another when we're in the middle of bull markets. Now, the first major thing to note is that typically whenever we have a pullback in Bitcoin during bull markets, we typically see anywhere between around a 34 to around a 40% correction, as highlighted here on the screen. And so the fact that we've only seen a 31% correction indicates that there is still more downside that could potentially happen in Bitcoin, and the correction is still considered to be normal. Furthermore, if we look at price here around New Year's in 2017, we can see that we had a minor correction in Bitcoin and the RSI was extremely overbought. And that followed by a correction which brought us just a tad into the normal range before eventually rallying higher once again, therefore creating RSI divergence, which I'll show here. We had the divergence happen here at this point in time, and this price action confirmed that divergence, and that followed with around 3 weeks worth of price action correction, which brought us down to around the 60 level on the RSI and simultaneously retesting the 21 exponential moving average. We then had another monumental rally which brought us extremely overbought once again to around 90 on this RSI before having another correction, multi-week long correction, back down into the normal normal range, retesting the 21 EMA once again. And this relationship continued throughout the entire bull cycle that we saw in the 2017 bull market. And so when we did eventually top out, we can see that the RSI just completely collapsed and fell all the way down. But as we are at the start of a bull market now, I have no reason to believe why this would be any different in this bull cycle, because Bitcoin has a history of following this particular overbought to a normal range RSI pattern within corrections, as well as pulling back to this 21 exponential moving average. So based upon that idea, we can come back to current price and look and see what we could potentially be looking for with Bitcoin's price over the next couple of weeks, allowing us to pull back in the RSI and completely reset it by coming back into this range. And with looking at the historical context of Bitcoin dropping back into a normal RSI reading, as well as retesting that 21 exponential moving average, we can make somewhat of an assumption that Bitcoin will follow somewhat of a similar trajectory during this bull cycle. And that will potentially indicate the bottom of the correction. And that's the new thing that I'm looking for during this pullback period in this bull market. So now I'm going to be explaining the exact type of price action patterns to look out for on lower time frames in terms of this retracement down to the 21 period moving average and into this normal range on the RSI. We can go ahead and drop down to the daily time frame just to indicate the levels at which we will be looking for the bounce to occur from when this eventuality happens. So the first thing to highlight is that the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly chart is currently trading at around $21,000. Now, based upon what we know about Bitcoin loving to have these 40% corrections, is that we can actually anticipate what a 40% correction would look like if it was to occur from those all-time highs. And with that being taken into consideration, we can see that a 40% correction would land us around $25,200. So we can clone this line and move it up to that level just to represent what a 40% correction would look like for Bitcoin. Now, the supply and demand zone that is lying around this $25,000 level happens to be slightly above it and is around the $26,000 level. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw in a zone at this level just so that we can see exactly where the potential area could be, representing just under a 40% correction. So from the whole time highs to this new level that we've identified, it's around a 36% drop, which lies exactly in between the 35 to 40% range that we are looking for to complete that pullback. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in the other two supply and demand zones that we identified in our video last week, as these act as quite significant areas of support that price has to eventually break below or break above in order to validate or invalidate our trade idea. Now, jumping back up to the weekly chart and having identified our key levels where the 21 exponential moving average is trading, the exact 40% correction, as well as the supply and demand zone that correlates best within that range on the lower time frames, we can now start to paint out exactly what we can kind of expect price to do over the next week or two in order to complete this move. So clearly, as we mentioned earlier, we are going to be looking for that 21 exponential moving average to move up and start to curl over within this zone. Simultaneously, I am expecting price to bounce around a little within this range, but eventually have a breakdown below it and come down and meet this 21 exponential moving average, at which point I am expecting quite an aggressive move back up above this trend line, continuing and allowing us to reach all-time highs once again. So this is essentially the kind of correction pattern I am looking for in Bitcoin, and this correction pattern kind of matches up with what we are used to seeing with Bitcoin in previous bull markets, just like how we identified a little bit earlier. And I believe that there is about a 60% chance that this scenario will play out just because of how significant and how well respected this price action pattern was during the previous bull market. And of course, that means that our ideal entry opportunity will lie upon the retest of this 21 exponential moving average on the weekly chart, wherever that may occur. So even though we have the price highlighted at this $26,400 level, this entry point will be dynamic depending on what point price does fall below this trend line and come down to retest it. So this could occur, in my opinion, anywhere within this around $25,000 to $27,000 range. So I'm not going to try and specify an exact opening level because of these reasons, but it probably is a good idea to set a couple of alerts when price does fall below this trend line, just so that you are notified when this price action pattern could be taking place. And with that being said, thank you to all who took the time out to watch this video, and an even bigger thank you to you guys who made it to the end of this video. Now I plan on doing videos analyzing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies quite regularly, so ensure that you subscribe to the channel in order to keep up to date with that future content. If you found this video useful, support us by dropping a like on the video so that the YouTube algorithm can help us reach more people. Thanks and peace out.